There are things we trust without question. Fruits, for example. Since childhood, we have been told, this is good for you, this is vitamins, this is health, especially in old age, especially instead of sugar, pastries, sweets. And this is true, but only partly, because not every fruit is the same. Some, in small quantities and at the right time, really support the body, and others, especially with age, can cause harm. And not right away, not sharply, but slowly, quietly, day after day, creating inflammation, overloading the pancreas, disrupting sleep, removing calcium from the bones. We, the Elderly Council, want to tell you about 6 fruits that are especially dangerous for people over 60. Today, 2 of them. They often lie on our tables, and they seem familiar, but that is precisely why they are the most insidious. The first fruit is grapes. Sweet, juicy, convenient. Without peeling, without skin. A bunch of grapes is almost a dessert that you can eat by the handful. It doesn't seem dangerous. Moreover, the ads say that it is filled with antioxidants, cleanses the blood, good for blood vessels. And this is the main trap, because grapes are pure sugar, glucose and fructose, in a quickly digestible form, without fiber. In addition, ripe grapes contain up to 15-20 grams of sugar per 100 grams. And how much do we eat at a time? Not 100 grams, sometimes half a kilo, sometimes the whole bunch, especially if in front of the TV between tasks, alone. What happens in the body? The blood sugar level immediately increases, especially in the elderly, where the sensitivity of cells to insulin is already reduced. The pancreas makes a breakthrough. It releases insulin. After 40 minutes, a decline, a feeling of hunger, fatigue, trembling. The very same sugar pendulum begins. And if it is an evening snack, sleep is disturbed. The liver works in overload. Plus, fermentation. Grapes easily become the cause of bloating, heaviness in the intestines, especially if eaten after a meal or in combination with bread, cheese. And also, grapes do not saturate. This is not a dense food. It is taste and sugar. Therefore, you eat a lot and do not feel how much, but the body does. What is especially alarming is that grapes are actively eaten by people with fragile blood vessels, with varicose veins, with diabetes, thinking that fruit means you can. But it is with age that grapes become one of those products that slowly but steadily worsen metabolism. What to replace? An unsweetened apple with the peel. It takes longer to digest, is rich in fiber. A handful of blueberries or black currants, less sugar, more benefits. Baked pear, gently warms, does not ferment. Grapes are not evil, but in old age you should not eat them by the handful, but strictly dose them. Or better yet, put them off until better times. The second fruit is a banana. Cozy, soft, nutritious. Banana is almost a symbol of a light snack. It is given to children. It is taken on the road. It is often eaten by the elderly when there is no appetite or no strength to cook. It saturates, they say. It is high in calories, they add, and there is truth in this. But the truth is nuanced, because a banana, especially a ripe one, is sweet, dense, hidden, soft, but still sweet. One medium banana contains about 25 grams of carbohydrates. Of these, 14 to 16 grams of sugar. Moreover, in a ripe fruit, almost exclusively glucose and fructose. What's going on in the body? The same story, a sharp surge in sugar, followed by a decline. It is especially dangerous if the banana is eaten on an empty stomach or when tired. First, a rise. An hour later, trembling, weakness, irritation. Banana overloads the pancreas, and with frequent use, it causes a stable insulin response. There are other effects. Banana is a product with a high potassium content. This is good, but only if the kidneys are working without failures. And in the elderly, filtration is often already reduced, and excess potassium can accumulate. And this is a risk for the heart, especially if there is arrhythmia, high blood pressure, edema. Banana also contains substances that stimulate the production of serotonin. It seems good, the happiness hormone. But if you eat a banana in the evening, it can interfere with the natural production of melatonin. And that means it is worse for you to fall asleep. Now imagine, You live alone. In the morning, coffee and a banana. During the day, a banana as a snack. In the evening, a banana in front of the TV. It seems easy and safe, but the body is on the verge of overload, and there are no signals that something is wrong. Only apathy, only pressure surges, only poor sleep, only extra pounds. What's better? Half a baked apple with a spoonful of butter, avocado, sugar-free but filling, unsweetened cottage cheese with a spoonful of seeds. A banana is not evil, but after 60, it becomes something that is better not to use as just a snack. It requires awareness, or better yet, replacements. Third fruit, pineapple. Bright, tropical, juicy. Pineapple feels like a celebration. It's often found on the healthy side of dessert tables, and for many people over 60, especially those living alone, it becomes a favorite. Refreshing, easy to eat, no need to cook. And it's true, pineapple has some benefits. It contains bromelain, a compound linked to digestion. It's packed with vitamin C. It feels good on the tongue. But behind that brightness is a hidden intensity. Pineapple is one of the most aggressive fruits for the aging digestive system. First, the sugar content. 1 cup of sliced pineapple has over 16 grams of sugar. Not the slow kind. Fast, sharp, easily absorbed. If you eat even a modest portion, your blood sugar rises quickly. If you do it in the evening or on an empty stomach, the effect is even stronger. For someone whose metabolism has slowed, whose insulin response is already dulled by age or weight or medication, that spike becomes a burden, and it's followed, as always, by a crash. Tiredness, hunger, irritability. But that's not all. Pineapple is acidic, very acidic. For younger people, this might go unnoticed, but with age, the stomach lining thins. Acid regulation weakens, and a piece of pineapple, especially raw, especially on an empty stomach, can mean bloating, reflux, even gastritis over time. It also interferes with certain medications. But more importantly, it confuses the body. Because it looks like fruit, it feels like refreshment, but it behaves like sugar with acid and enzymes. And it adds up. A few slices here, a bowl there, especially canned pineapple, preserved in syrup or juice, which multiplies the sugar load and removes all natural control. So what's better? A few slices of fresh cucumber with herbs, steamed pear with a sprinkle of cinnamon, warm herbal tea with a few berries. Pineapple isn't poison, but after 60, the body no longer neutralizes its harshness so easily, and what once felt like pleasure slowly becomes pressure from within. Fourth fruit, watermelon. It's hard to speak ill of watermelon. It feels like childhood, like summer. It's sweet but watery, light but filling. How could it be harmful? And yet, it is, especially for someone older, and especially in large portions. Watermelon is over 90% water, yes, but the other part? Mostly sugar. Natural, yes, but rapid. Half a medium slice can contain 17-20 grams of sugar, and no fiber to slow it down, no fat, no protein, just fast glucose. What does that mean? When you eat watermelon, your body treats it like a sugar drink. The sugar enters your bloodstream in minutes, your insulin spikes, then it crashes. You feel tired, weak, hungry again. But the bigger issue is how easy it is to eat too much. Watermelon is cool, soft. It doesn't make you chew much. It doesn't satisfy deeply. You can eat 2, 3, 4 slices before your stomach catches up. And for someone living alone, who maybe doesn't cook dinner, who maybe wants something light, this becomes dinner. And that's the problem. Your body gets flooded, your pancreas strains, your kidneys try to flush. And then, in the night, restlessness, inflammation, leg cramps, even high blood pressure from fluid shifts. For people with heart issues or metabolic problems, this becomes a dangerous rhythm, not obvious, but cumulative. Not fatal at once, but slowly destabilizing. And if you eat it cold, straight from the fridge, you're adding thermal stress. Your body, already slower to regulate temperature with age, reacts. Stomach tension, vascular constriction, and sometimes sleeplessness without knowing why. What's better? A small bowl of stewed berries with a spoon of yogurt. Room temperature melon in a small portion, never cold. A handful of soaked prunes or figs if you want sweet and fiber. Watermelon is not evil, but for an aging body, it's a fruit that demands caution. It's not that you can't enjoy it, but you must do so like a ceremony, not a snack. Fifth fruit, dates and dried fruit mixes. It's easy to see why dried fruits feel like the perfect snack. No peeling, no spoiling. A handful of raisins, dates, apricots, or figs, all neatly packaged, often labeled natural energy or source of fiber. For older adults, especially those living alone or with limited appetite, dried fruits seem like a wholesome choice. A little sweet, a little chewy, a little comforting. And many reach for them in the quiet of the evening, between meals, with tea, or even instead of dessert. But here's what matters. Dried fruit isn't just fruit without water, it's fruit with concentrated sugar and no natural balance. Take dates. Just 2 or 3 of them contain the sugar equivalent of a candy bar. Raisins? A small handful carries more sugar than a slice of cake, and the body doesn't always treat that sugar kindly. Once again, we return to blood sugar. After 60, the body's ability to manage glucose naturally declines. Insulin becomes less effective, the liver less efficient. The body takes longer to stabilize after a meal. Add in dried fruits, sweet, sticky, fast-absorbing, and you get a spike that feels warm at first, but burns out just as quickly. And the fiber? It's there, yes, but tough, dried, slow to digest, which can cause bloating, slow transit, and even discomfort for those with sensitive guts. What makes it worse is the invisibility. Dried fruits are healthy. They don't feel like dessert, but they behave like one, especially if you eat them without fat, without protein, without real balance. So what's better? A baked apple with a pinch of cinnamon and a spoon of cottage cheese. A few slices of ripe pear with sunflower seeds. A soft boiled beet with olive oil. Naturally sweet, grounding, gentle. You don't have to give up sweetness. But after 60, sweetness needs help. It needs allies. Fiber, fat, calm. And dried fruits don't always offer that. Sixth fruit, oranges and citrus in the evening. Few fruits feel as pure as the orange. Bright, fragrant, juicy. Associated with childhood, with health, with winter mornings. Many people eat them to boost immunity, to refresh the palate, to get some vitamin C. But here's something rarely discussed. Citrus fruits can become problematic, especially if eaten at the wrong time or in the wrong way. Oranges, tangerines, grapefruits, they're acidic, and with age the stomach becomes more sensitive. The protective mucus layer thins, the acid balance weakens, and the result? One orange in the evening can become a night of reflux, tightness, or even disrupted sleep. But it's not just about acid. Oranges also have a high sugar content. One medium orange has about 15 grams of sugar, similar to a cookie. And yet it's rarely seen that way. It's a healthy snack, but when eaten at night or on an empty stomach, it can trigger both a sugar spike and an acidic shock. And for those on certain medications, like for blood pressure, citrus, especially grapefruit, can interfere with how drugs are processed, sometimes increasing their potency, sometimes reducing it, silently. There's also the cold factor. Citrus fruits are often eaten straight from the fridge. For aging bodies, this can trigger tension in the gut, in the nervous system, even in the joints. And perhaps most of all, oranges stimulate. Their scent, their acids, their sugars, they wake the body, which is wonderful in the morning. But at night, the opposite of what you need. So what's better? A slice of ripe melon, room temperature, a warm pear compote, or simply a glass of warm water with lemon zest, not juice. Let citrus be a morning friend, not an evening guest. The timing makes the difference. Closing words from elderly counsel. That was 6 fruits. None of them are forbidden. None of them are evil. And yet, each in the wrong quantity or at the wrong time slowly shifts the body out of balance. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gradually, gently. in ways we often don't notice until it's already affected our energy, our mood, our sleep, our strength. The message isn't fear, it's attention, because after 60 the body becomes more honest. It tells the truth faster, it responds more clearly, and it asks, not for restriction, but for care. Eat what supports you. Notice what drains you. Let food become a quiet partner in your well-being, not a silent threat dressed as comfort. If you recognized yourself in any of this, let us know in the comments. What surprised you? What did you once believe was helping but now see differently? We read every word. Your thoughts shape what we share next. And if this was helpful, please like and subscribe. It helps us grow. But more importantly, it helps more people find this message. We are Elderly Counsel. Stay warm, stay curious, stay kind, especially to your body.